All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a single economic idea that honestly shapes every single choice you make. I'm talking from the tiny, trivial stuff to the life changing, monumental ones. And here's the thing, once you get this concept, you are going to see it absolutely everywhere. Okay, so let's just dive right in. You're looking at the smoothie, right? And you're thinking, what's the cost? Well, on the surface, it seems super obvious. You just look at the menu, you see a price, and that's it. Decision made. But, an economist, they look at this completely differently. They're asking a much, much deeper question. So the price tag says $7. And sure, that's the money that's going to leave your wallet. But here's the catch. The true economic cost, it's completely invisible. It's not the $7. It's the value of whatever you had to give up to get that smoothie. It really is the road not taken. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll kick things off with that simple choice. Then we'll properly define what opportunity cost is. After that, we'll see how it blows up to affect big things, and we'll wrap up with a really practical tool you can use to make better choices. All right, section 1. Think about it for a second. Every single choice you have ever made, from what you ate for breakfast this morning to the career path you're on, it all boils down to one single fundamental economic problem. And that problem is scarcity. This simple truth is basically the engine that drives all of economics. We just can't have everything we want. We've got limited money, limited time, and for sure, limited energy. And because we can't have it all, we are constantly, and I mean constantly, forced to make trade-offs. It's as simple as this. Choosing one thing always, always means you're not choosing something else.
And that brings us right to the core idea we're talking about today. That something else, the thing you have to give up, well, it has a name, and it is hands down one of the most powerful concepts in all of economics. It's called opportunity cost.
Let's put it this way. Opportunity cost isn't about what you did choose. It's all about the benefit you missed out on from your second best option, the one you didn't pick. So it could be the potential profit you gave up, the time you could have saved, or maybe a totally different experience you sacrificed to do what you did. Okay, so opportunity cost is really made of two parts. You've got your explicit costs. That's the easy stuff. The obvious, out-of-pocket money, like the $7 for that smoothie. You see it right there on the receipt. But then, and this is the key part, you have the implicit costs. These are the unseen things. For that smoothie, it could be the value of the 15 minutes you spent waiting in line. Or it could be the interest you could have been earning if you'd invested that $7 instead. The real, total opportunity cost, it's both of those added together. All right, let's move on, because now we're going to see how this idea can take a simple, tiny daily habit and turn it into a sum of money that could genuinely change your financial future. Yeah, this is where opportunity cost gets really personal. So think about a daily coffee habit. Maybe $4 or $5, a few times a week. It seems so small, doesn't it? Just a few dollars here and there. A lot of us don't even think twice about it. But the opportunity cost, it isn't just the money you're spending each day. No. It's about what that money could have become. Okay, let's actually run the numbers on this. Let's say instead of buying that coffee a few times a week, you invested that cash instead. And we'll be conservative. Say you get a modest 3% return each year. Well, after just 10 years, you wouldn't just have the money you saved, you'd have over $7,600. That right there is the real opportunity cost of that coffee habit. In this chart just illustrates the incredible power of compounding perfectly. See, the value doesn't just add up, it actually grows on itself, exponentially, over time. That invisible, unseen opportunity cost of your daily spending, well, it suddenly becomes this huge, tangible pile of cash. So you start to realize it wasn't just about the coffee. It was about the vacation you could have taken, or a down payment, or a safety net that you gave up instead. Okay, so this whole logic of trade-offs, it doesn't just apply to our personal bank accounts. Let's zoom out, because this exact same principle applies to entire nations. It literally shapes global policy. At the end of the day, societies, just like you and me, cannot have everything they want. Here's a classic example. A country might decide to go all in on industrial growth, right? But what's the opportunity cost? Well, it could be a cleaner environment. And to really get their heads around this kind of massive trade-off, economists use this really powerful visual tool. It's called the Production Possibility Frontier, or PPF for short. So what this curve shows us is basically every possible efficient combination of two things, in this case, economic output and environmental protection. So if a country chooses, say, point P, they're getting a ton of economic output, but the opportunity cost is they're sacrificing a clean environment. Now, if they swing all the way over to point T, they get a beautiful, pristine environment, but the opportunity cost is a much weaker economy. The really crucial thing is to be on the curve. Anywhere inside it, like at point M, is just plain inefficient. It means you're being wasteful. You could have more of both.
And this whole idea scales up even bigger to a global level. The entire theory of comparative advantage, which drives international trade, is built on opportunity cost. It basically says that countries are better off if they specialize in making the things they can produce most efficiently, or to put it another way, at a lower opportunity cost, and then they just trade with everyone else. So yeah, a country might be great at making both computer chips and growing coffee, but if they give up very little coffee to make a ton of chips, well, they should focus on the chips and just trade for the coffee. It's a win-win. In the end, both countries get more of both things.
So, we've seen how this one simple idea, opportunity cost, scales all the way from your coffee habit right up to global trade policy. I mean, it's obviously a really powerful concept. Which begs the question, if it's so important, why are we so bad at using it? Why do we ignore it so often? Well, the answer lies in a really common psychological trap that tricks us into making bad decisions. The number one reason we get opportunity cost wrong is because of this mental trap called the sunk cost fallacy. This is our weird tendency to let money we've already spent, money that's gone forever, influence what we do next. I mean, have you ever forced yourself to sit through a truly terrible movie just because you paid for the ticket? Yep, that is the sunk cost fallacy, right there in action. So, here's the absolute crucial takeaway. Sunk costs are all about the past. That money is gone. It's history. It is totally irrelevant to whatever you decide to do next. Opportunity costs, on the other hand, are all about the future. They represent the potential you could unlock with your next choice. That's what should be guiding your decisions, not the money you've already spent. So how do you actually beat this mental trap? Well, it's a pretty simple 4-step mental reset. Step 1, acknowledge the costs. Yep, you spent that money. Step 2, consciously just let them go. Ignore them. They're gone. They're irrelevant now. Step 3, focus only on the future costs and future benefits. And finally, step 4, actively think about the opportunity costs. Ask yourself, what is the absolute best use of my time and money, starting right now? And if you're ever stuck, just ask yourself this one simple but really powerful question. It reframes the entire decision. It forces you to look forward, to weigh your options based on their future potential, not based on past mistakes. And when you do that, you start to see beyond the simple price tag, and you finally begin to understand the real, unseen price of every single choice you make.